Today, we're going to take a look at a perfectly balanced ship, the new Tier 7 premium Russian aircraft carrier Chkalov. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name exactly correctly, but that's how I'm going to say it. The commander is the only Russian CV commander available. I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I've got Space Fishy, and I've got Louis de Fournay, or Louis du Fournay, however you say his name, as the two inspirations. Space Fishy makes the speed of the airdropped torpedoes a little bit higher. Fournay increases the damage of the skip bombs. So the numbers I read you are going to be influenced by those two inspirations and the build. They are, of course, perfectly balanced numbers, and we'll get to them in a second. First, though, as we line up for our initial drop against this cruiser, which I think, well, it looks like an Atlanta, but it might be a Pan-Asian cruiser, not 100% sure. We drop the skip bombs on him, and we hit him for about 8,100 damage. Nothing wrong there, only three bombs actually hit, one shattered. So, nothing too crazy. 51,700 HP. That's how much we have in the Chkalov, and 25% torpedo damage reduction. Perfectly fine. Nothing out of the ordinary there. That's well in line with the other CVs at the tier. So step one, or strike one, for it being perfectly balanced. We go to the aircraft statistics next as we line up for our first drop of torpedoes. Of course, we are going to completely miss this drop because we are hopeless potatoes. However, the torpedo bombers have about 2,000 HP, 1,928, perhaps not as tanky as some other planes at this tier. There are 6 of them in an attack squadron, and of course all 6 of them drop at one time. You don't get multiple drops with the Russian CVs, thus perfectly balanced. They drop 6 torpedoes into the water. The torpedoes hit for a maximum of 4,035 damage. They've got a 51-knot top speed, a 6-kilometer range, and the maximum flight range of the torpedo bombers is 27 kilometers. They take 102 seconds to restore. And then, the skip bombers. You can see us lining up here against I think it's a Flandre, some sort of battleship pushing in. These skip bombers have 2,025 HP. There's also 6 of them. They drop 6 skip bombs, and, well, there's another 2 against that battleship for another 8K. They have a perfectly balanced HE Alpha strike of 13,388, although it might be a little bit lower than that at base, because keep in mind, we have Fournay at one of the inspiration slots. They also enjoy a perfectly balanced 49% fire chance. And these torpedoes, of course, again, perfectly balanced. There's only 6 of them, right? They've got 4,300 damage, and they're very slow. They also have a narrow spread, so of course it's incredibly difficult to get them on target. And, well, there goes the battleship for our first kill of the game, also the first blood medal. Our teammate thanks us for our assistance and services. Skip bombers also take as long as the torpedo bombers to restore, 102 seconds. The Chkalov has secondaries, but there's no reason to go over the stats because you wouldn't want to push this thing in and use the secondaries. AA defenses are probably great as they are on every CV. Maneuverability is ridiculous. It's got 32-knot top speed. It's got a terrible turning circle, though, just like the Russian battleships. 1,040 meters, 13.2-second rudder shift, and a concealment of 12.7 kilometers by sea. Anyway, back to the gameplay here. We're failing to drop some torpedoes on this destroyer who looks like he's engaging in some CV hunting, but apparently that's not what he's doing. We've got a battleship out there. I think that guy might be AFK, or he's just sitting there in spawn, bow tanking. Unclear, but the destroyer seems to be distracted by him, even though I'm sure he can see this CV. So, we're going to have to take care of this guy. Some skip bombers here. Oh, look at that. Perfectly balanced results. Only 1 bomb for 4,400 damage. Of course, these bombs are incredibly difficult to line up on DDs and everything else. You've got to line up the reticle. They have to skip first on that orange line. If you line up that orange line on the ship and the bombs hit right on that orange line, they do no damage. They've got to skip once, so it's very difficult to get them on target for a DD. And of course, they're incredibly ineffective against destroyers. It's just a matter of luck that we managed to take that guy out for our second kill of the game. But unfortunately, he did get some torpedoes launched, and he is going to sink that poor, helpless battleship. And this, of course, is why the Chkalov is perfectly balanced. Everybody knows destroyers are the most overpowered class of ship in this game. They're practically invisible. You can't do anything about them. You can't see them. There's no way to counter them. People tell you, look at the minimap, pay attention to your surroundings, learn the nuances of the mechanics in this game, but ultimately, the only counter to overpowered DDs is this perfectly balanced CV. Another torpedo drop in the water against a smoked-up battleship, I think of a Netto or something. Our team has captured the Charlie Cap. They're inside of Alpha, at least one of the DDs is. I think we're going to be capturing that. Veneto has abandoned Alpha, and he's out of his smoke screen now, which is the only counter to this perfectly balanced CV. Another lineup with the skip bombers here. Again, these drop 6 skip bombs, and each one of these bombs does over 13,000 maximum damage with a 49% fire chance. So, we hit all 6 of them there, actually, but 4 of them do shatter. Imagine if all of them had penetrated. That Veneto would be sailing back to port by way of going underwater just like a submarine. The friendly cruiser finishes off the Veneto and gives us the coveted fisting ribbon, which we always like to see. Our team appears to not be taking the Alpha Cap, but that's okay. There's 4 ships left alive, one of which is a destroyer, 2 of which are cruisers, and the other is a perfectly balanced enemy Chkalov. There's the cruiser that we dropped first in the game, either a Pan-Asian cruiser or an Atlanta. It's hard to tell. He's in a little bit of a turn, so we line up the skip bombs just perfectly there. And, well, there he goes for our 3rd kill of the game. Now we're only up to a pitiful 57,000 damage done, which is a strong indication that this CV is perfectly balanced. If it weren't, we would have over 100,000 damage about 7 minutes into the game, but we don't. And that is because of the balance, right? Yes. Anyway, this cap is occupied by a destroyer, the last remaining enemy destroyer, which is I think, USS Black, actually. He's going to make an excellent move here to get away from these skip bombs by plowing his bow right into the island. Now he's stationary, but don't worry. The RNG is most likely going to save him here as we drop the skip bombs. He does reverse. He gets out of the way of them a little bit, but we hit him with 2, and there's another 8,000 damage. Don't worry, it's impossible for all 6 bombs to hit a destroyer. It'll never happen. RNGesus will bless the destroyer and protect it because, of course, destroyers, again, are the most overpowered class in this game, completely uncounterable by anything except for CVs, and it's RNG that protects them from the skip bombs. There's no way 6 can land. There's absolutely no way you could dev strike a destroyer with these 6 HE bombs for 13,000 damage each. It's impossible. Also impossible to dev strike enemy cruisers. Just ask the Cherbourg over here, who's mostly stationary. Skip bombs, the results are terrible. You see only 1 there. 1 fire, too. But no dev strike. So, again, perfectly balanced. Back to, what do we have now in the air? Torpedo bombers. Probably not super great against enemy destroyers, right? I mean, they've got a narrow launch spread. There's 6 of them. They go at 51 knots. They've got a 6-kilometer range once you drop them in the water. Basically impossible to line them up against destroyers and take them out, I'm sure. We'll see how the USS Black feels about that. He appears to be spotted by our teammates, who, by the way, have taken the Alpha Cap, which is going to come in clutch here. Dropping the torpedoes behind the Black, assuming he's going to turn a little bit to the left. But, of course, these torpedoes are so slow, they don't reach him. Oh, wait, never mind. They do. He dies. There's 4 kills, 70,000 damage done. 2 ships left, Cherbourg and the CV. Friendly cruisers are inside the Bravo cap. They're taking that thing. Maybe they'll be able to secure it. Surely the two of them together are going to be able to eliminate the Cherbourg. But black torpedoes coming in at one of the cruisers who hopefully had sonar active. Looks like he did. He manages to dodge the torpedoes. Teammates are spotting the Cherbourg, but Cherbourg takes down the Surrey. Don't know how that happened, but that just leaves one enemy cruiser alive versus this Cherbourg and the CV. The CV is, of course, another Chkalov. The Cherbourg, he's sitting still, which makes him a very difficult target to hit with these skip bombs, incredibly difficult to aim, as you can see here. 5 kills, Kraken unleashed, only a pitiful 71,000 damage, though. That's because I'm a complete potato in CVs. Otherwise, you could be getting tons of damage with this thing. I'm sure if you look on YouTube, you'll find some people who also have this ship, most likely community contributors, and you'll probably see high damage games in excess of, 150, 175, maybe even 200,000 damage. If you look at some of the excellent CV players in this game, the top tier, the elite, you might see that they've done over 300,000 damage in this thing, but those are perfectly reasonable numbers, nothing imbalanced about this at all. The speed of the planes is also completely fine. We're able to traverse the map in only about 3 seconds. And, well, if it was 1 second or 2 seconds, that would be completely imbalanced. But 3 seconds, I'd say that's perfectly balanced. Now it's just an epic fight of CV versus CV, the most interesting and dynamic gameplay that World of Warships Legends has to offer. You can see the enemy Chkalov hits us with a perfectly balanced salvo of torpedoes, and we respond with one of our own, although we only hit him with 2 torpedoes. I think he hits us with all 6. I don't know, maybe not, because we didn't lose all our HP. Anyway, we're far ahead on points thanks to our team capturing the 2 capture circles. We fly our planes into the fighter squadron of the enemy Chkalov and lose the entire squadron, but that's okay. We've got another, 6 skip bombers to send up there. That's one thing that's perfectly balanced about this ship. You can drop, or you can initiate your drop so far away from enemy ships that you're kind of outside the AA range of some of them. And so you might only lose 1 or 2 planes on the drop. And then, well, you can just launch full squadrons pretty much all the time, as long as you don't fly these planes right into an AA bubble and eat all the flak and then lose the entire squadron. Very easy to do, of course. And, well, this is just a duel between these 2 CVs. This is not an ideal lineup for this bomb drop unless the enemy Chkalov is going to turn and give broadside during the drop. We almost get caught by the planes again, but this time we get off all 6 skip bombs, and, well, mediocre results. 3 shatters, only 1 pen. Again, perfectly balanced with a perfectly balanced Confederate medal. We've got the enemy Chkalov's torpedo bombers coming in. I think now it's time to take manual control of the ship and the rudder so that we can avoid these torpedoes. We could go down to this Chkalov, and if we do, we're going to give up the win that we've got here with the Kraken Unleashed. So we don't want to take any chances. We'll just turn the rudder a little bit to port, avoid all those 51-knot torpedoes. You see that? They're so slow they can't even hit a CV. That's dodging. It only goes 31 knots. It's not like it's fast. Less than, well, just a little over 1 minute left to go in this epic match of great entertainment and dynamic gameplay. Putting our own fighter planes up in the air to see if we can't catch those skip bombers of the enemy Chkalov like he did with us earlier. Looks like our fighters have locked on. They appear to be following the skip bomb squadron. Oh, no, they backed off. Well, too bad. Are we going to get hit by that guy, or did we time our turn correctly to avoid giving him broadside? Results unclear. It looks like he's dropped his bombs, and somehow we don't take any damage whatsoever. That's pretty insane. Chkalov turning in again. We're launching the torpedoes. This is a very narrow spread, so you can, in fact, successfully launch torpedoes at the bows of turning ships, battleships, CVs. Maybe not something small because, they'd probably be able to dodge a little bit easier. But there's 2 torpedoes against the Chkalov. That's the last drop of the match. We're up to a pitiful 99,000 damage done, not even 100K. What a perfectly balanced ship. If it weren't, we would have done 200K in this game. It had nothing to do with my aim of the drops or anything like that. Oh no, it's just because the ship is perfectly balanced. And as you can see, we're not even number 1 on the leaderboard, only second with 2,400 XP. So yeah, perfectly balanced. If you want this ship, you can buy it for 750,000 global XP, or for a limited time, you can pay 17,500 doubloons. You'll probably enjoy it if you like CVs. And of course, CVs are my favorite class, so yeah, this ship is fine. I think it actually needs a buff. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.